Good morning, folks. Hope you're doing all right. How's everyone today? We made it through midterm week and the break. So, welcome back to March. Had I think a pretty decent weekend, but I think it's supposed to be pretty cold again. So, this one say it was like false winter, I think is what we called it. Let me grab this for you here. There we go. So we're going to move on to Javafx today. Apparently, not everyone who took 1500 actually did Javafx. So you might have done some stuff with Swing, which is fine. Not a problem. But we're going to start back off with the real basics here for Javafx. Yeah, the imposter spring. That's not right. The mouse seems like a little funny right now. Let me fire up NetBeans too while we're at it. So if you haven't used Javafx before, we'll go through the install today, the basic Hello World in a Javafx graphical user interface application. And that'll be what our lab is about. I think we're going to wait until Thursday for Project 2 because we're not going to have done enough of it to talk about the project yet, if that's all right with you folks. Or maybe we can. We'll see. We'll see how far we get. We'll see. I can't talk about the midterm questions yet. I've got some still outstanding, unfortunately, but that's what it is. So hopefully we'll be able to talk about those coming up. So in case you had any questions about the long answer ones, we'll be able to do those later. And I think I've gotten nothing graded for you. Last week I thought I'd get a lot done and ended up having to do other sorts of things, which was unfortunate. And then the whole world events kind of took a lot of the wind out of my sails. So I didn't really get much of anything done aside from just a couple of things that I really needed to do, other sort of tasks. It's been a bit of a rough week, unfortunately. All right, so we close all this down. Yeah, that actually opened like faster than I thought it would. That's kind of exciting. Right, so if you haven't done Javafx yet, you need a couple extra steps to get things set up here. So first of all, you have to go download the matching OpenJFX. So we've got our links here for the OpenJDK and the OpenJFX. So depending on which version of the OpenJDK you're using, we need the matching OpenJFX version, right? So when I went to Java Platforms, so if you go to Tools and Java Platforms, we can see what version of the JDK we're using. It is 17.0.1. So that's the version of the OpenJFX library we need to go download. So from Javafx, I'm going to go to Downloads, and I'm going to find the 17 download. So I want 17.0.1. I guess 0.2 will work. They've got the other ones. Let's see. Actually, I haven't done this since the fall. Let me double check. I'm going to see what I have over there. So I like the idea of following along how our virtual machines do it. So all of my stuff is in this OpenDev folder. Yeah, I've got 17. I think 02 should work, but you know, let's just do any version here and go find Windows. This one, include older versions. There we go. Let's find x64, the SDK, and here's 17.0.1 if you want the matching one. So matching will make life easier usually. yeah, so if you just check that, use older versions, I think 17.0.2 should work. But you just want, like, if you're on 17, you don't want 16 or 15 or whatever else there, or this 11 or the 18 or 19 nonsense. You need to make sure we're using the right numbers to match that there. That's the important thing. So we go download that. That's just another zip file. And then you're going to right click and extract it, and you're going to put it in probably the same location by where you put the JDK, right? Again, I like everything in this OpenDev folder. You can put it anywhere you want. It doesn't really matter. Right, but your zip files, just right click and extract all on it. I'll just download this one, might as well. It's a pretty quick download. Yep. And then, right, so don't open the file, open your file location here. Let me move that folder real quick. Come on, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all fine. All right, let me grab my folder here. Whoa, what is it doing? My mouse is being real funny today. That's weird. All right, so if you have the zip file, right, you just right click and you want to extract all. And you choose that location, right? Go browse, define C OpenDev, and it'll extract it all. Then once you have it there, we're going to come to NetBeans, and we need to make the library for it. You're going to go to Tools, and you're going to go to Libraries. There we go. That was weird. And again, I've got a bunch out here that I can get rid of. Been doing this for a while. Remove, remove, remove. Did I not even have it? Ah, there we go. All right, I cleaned up all those old ones. We're going to make a new library. So I have this existing one, don't worry about it. So you go to New Library. It says, what do you want to call it? So I called mine the Open JFX 17. You know what, here, I can remove it and then re-add it here, no big deal. So let's remove that. And we'll just add a new library. You say Open JFX 17. You want to extract everything inside of it that was in that JFX folder, the zip file. Not once it's here, you can leave sources alone. You don't need to do anything with the source zip. But you need to extract the Javafx download. So you get the bin, the legal, and the libraries folder. We don't care about source. Yep, so make your library Open JFX 17. We'll say OK. And it says, OK, now there's classes, sources, and Javadoc. We're going to go to the classes, or I'm sorry, the class path here. And we're going to add a jar. So a jar is just a bunch of Java files all bundled up together. Let's go find my OpenDev folder. And then my JavaFX folder. There we go. And inside the lib directory, this is the libraries here, there's a bunch of jar files. I'm going to grab all the jar files. If you click one and then shift click to the next one, like it'll highlight all of them, or you can click and then control click to pick one at a time. We're going to use all of them. So I do click the first one, or there's no like dragging to highlight all of them. So you got to click the first, shift click to the last one. And we're going to add the jars to the class path. So all we're doing, we're saying, hey, when this library now is all 8 of these jars here, we're just going to bundle all of those together. And we say, OK. So now we have the library set up. Right? No, that was in our tools and libraries. Not options. That's fine. All right, and then we're going to start a new project. Now, we're going to do 2 things. The first one is to get the plugins installed for NetBeans. We're going to go to the, instead of Java with AMP, we want a JavaFX project, and it's probably all grayed out. And now NetBeans is dumb. Occasionally, it will forget about those plugins again. Hector, my friend, thank you so much for coming on by and donating those bits to the Student Scholarship Fund over at the college, University of Michigan Dearborn College of Engineering and Computer Science. Hey, that didn't seem like such a mouthful this time. All right, so you'll go to the Javafx project. They should all be grayed out. So you go to Next, and it's going to go download and activate the plugins, which is good. That's what we want it to do. We want it to go find the Javafx plugins and activate them so we can use them. So which ones? Okay, so great. Let's do Javafx. I'll do the NB Java C. I wonder if that's why it wasn't working. Do I not even have the plugin? And I'll say download and activate. It says, okay, sure. Let's go download these. Yes, yes, yes. Sounds good. It will download and activate the plugins for you. Thinking about it. It's a good time for a coffee break. Anywhere you want to put it, Shady. I mean, probably next to wherever you put the JDK, but it doesn't. As long as you know where it is, you just need to go find it when you set up the library. So I like putting everything in that C open dev folder, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. Your computer doesn't care. Okay, so we'll download and then we'll activate the plugins. Slowly but surely. There. And now it will fail, which is okay. You'll say, hey, failed to automatically set up a Javafx platform. That's okay. We don't actually need this Javafx project. We just need the module or the plugins installed. So I'm going to go cancel. So all I needed to do is get the plugin installed there. But this Java platforms thing, it gets upset because it doesn't know where the Javafx stuff is. It's fine. It just doesn't know because it's silly. And it says you can go add it here, but there's no tab for it. It's all sorts of fun like that. Okay, so I don't even know if you can add the platform. Yeah, it's silly, but that's fine. So we just wanted the plugins installed. So now we're going to go back to File, New Project, and we're going to go back to, now that they're all like colored here, they're not grayed out. We know the plugins up to date here. So we're just going to go back to Java with Ant, Java application. And we'll pick our folder here, 2051, 2022. This will be Hello World GUI, our graphical user interface, or maybe Javafx. Hello World Javafx. We'll do that. We'll say finish. So now a couple things have to happen after we make this project, and admittedly I'm a little lazy here, and I want to not have to reinvent the wheel. So I'm going to go find my example here real quick. 2021. Because I pretty much copy paste the instructions in for myself every time. And that's okay. Don't worry about it. So I grab this. And then we'll come back. Making the project. All right, there we go. So again, I'll get rid of that. notes here, which tell me what to do. So I need to right-click library in the project, and we're going to add the OpenJFX 17 library. Then we're going to right-click the project, go to Run, add the, we want properties, right-click the project, properties, go to Run, and add the line below to the VM options box, this line right here. We're going to add. Then in the Libraries Run tab, we're going to add the OpenJFX 17 to the module path. And in the Libraries tab, make sure that the versions match. Again, depending on if at one point we had to change versions in between, so they like released a new one or something. I forget what it was. So this one's just a note just to make sure. So we need to open up the project here, kind of expand it in the project view. You see we have our source packages, and then we have libraries. So we're going to right-click Libraries, and we're going to add Library. We're going to go find that OpenJFX library we created. What that's going to do for us is add all those jars. We added the OpenJFX, so it adds all jars. So you can do it one jar at a time. Like this libraries thing just lets us add one thing instead of clicking 8 things to add. It's just a little shortcut for us. Now, this is kind of what we did with the library. Okay, and then we go to the project, right-click and go to Properties. We go to the Run section here. And we need to copy paste this line in this VM options box. So in the VM options, so this is saying, hey, when you go run Java and start the Java virtual machine, you need to please tell it to go load these modules. A little bit funky here, but we're saying, hey, please also load these things because we need to use them. The Javafx controls and the Javafx Fxml. Okay. Then we go to the Libraries section, the Run tab. Look at that. I can get followers, primes, and viewers. That sounds like so much fun. Oh, and someone else. Wow, 2 bots in a row. My friends. Thank you. All right, so we go to the Run tab, and then in the module path, we're going to click the plus here and add a library. And we're going to re-add that OpenJFX. So we have to add it twice. It's kind of annoying. We say OK. So it looks like it adds it twice here. Don't worry about it. Life will be fine. OK. Then, the last thing, sorry, that Libraries tab, just make sure our version's matched. So our libraries, the Java platform here, we want to make sure we match. So depending on how long you've been doing Java, you might have older versions of the JDK out there. Don't worry about it. So we got 17. A stretch. Thank you so much, guys. That's a good reminder. Woo. All right. So we're done with those settings. So we did those things to get the JavaFX stuff added to our project. Then we need to do a couple more things. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is our class needs to extend application. And there's a bunch of JavaFX stuff we're going to use here in a second. So don't worry too much about it. So we want to extend application. And it says, oh, what application do you want? I can't find the symbol for it. When we go to the light bulb here, we've got a bunch of options. You want the import for JavaFX, not the import for COM, Sun, Glass, UI. And you don't want any of these other ones here. So we want to add the import. Then it's like, oh, hey, it's not abstract and does not override abstract method start. Okay, cool, let's do that. So let's add the abstract method start. And we don't actually need this line here. We don't want that one. Okay. So we extended application. We added our start here. Then we also, inside of main, need to call launch. So as a JavaFX application, we have a method called launch that will go do something. This is what's actually going to start our program. Don't worry too much about it here. And then I'm actually basically just going to copy paste the whole start method here as well. We'll throw it all in here. And then we get a couple more red lines here. And we're just going to go add some more imports. So if you wanted to copy all the imports at once, go for it. If you want to import star, that's fine too. I don't know. The star doesn't work super well because there's a bunch of different packages. Like there's 2 from scene, there's 1 from stage, there's 1 from XML, and there's application. So you can't even really import star very easily. Okay, so a couple imports. A start method. The main method we'll call launch. We did these things. Oops, I didn't want. I guess that's fine. We'll just kind of have those separate for a reason. That's fine. Okay. Now we're almost ready. Not quite done yet. So I'm going to shrink back libraries because that just takes up a lot of space here. Now, you'll notice there's a section here that says this Fxml Loader here. And right now it says example.fxml. And our note here says change the name of your Fxml file to match. Well, we don't have an Fxml file yet. So I'm going to right click in my package here. I'm going to say new. Now, you might not have empty Fxml in your list. That's okay. So if you don't have an empty Fxml in your list, just go to other. So we're going to add our Fxml file. And if you go to Javafx, you have an empty Fxml option. That's what we want. We want an empty Fxml file. We'll go next. We'll give it a name. So let's call this one, I don't know, do we just want to call it example? I don't know. I'll just call it hello. Okay, say hello. Next, now this part's important. You want to use a Java controller. So check the box for use Java controller, and the default option will say create a new one. That's perfect. So it'll be the name of your file and the word controller. That's perfect. That's what we want. We don't need cascading style sheets. We'll talk more about those later. Don't worry too much about it. We'll say finish, and then we'll add 2 things. We'll add an Fxml file and a Java file. Now, this is where this note matters. We're going to change the name of our file. So we don't want example.fxml. We want hello.fxml. And with that, it should be runnable now. It's not going to have anything interesting in it, but it should be runnable. So if I click on run, we should at least get a box that pops up with GUI as the title here, if we did everything right. Let's see if we did everything right. There we go. We get a box that says GUI. Okay, the next thing we can do, other download we want, is Scene Builder. So go to this link, and we're going to go download Scene Builder that lets us have a drag and drop editor for JavaFX applications. You just download, go download Windows, Mac, or Linux, perfectly fine. This was Scene Builder 17 is the one we want here. Don't get the one for version 8. Right? We're not doing the Java 8 stuff. We're doing the version 17 and up. One. That's the scene builder you want. You can go download it and install it. It'll ask where you want to install it. So again, I like putting mine in OpenDev, but you can put it anywhere you want. You just need to know where it is. And we're going to go to Scene Builder. So Scene Builder is a really handy tool that lets us interact with our Java Fxml files. So if you just double click your Fxml file, mine's going to launch. I'm sorry, I forgot. One second. There we go. Yep. So we don't actually want that yet. We're ahead. Close that down. Okay. So one last thing here. So tools and options. If you go to Java and the JavaFX tab, it'll say, hey, where is Scene Builder installed? So for me, I said, okay, here's my folder. It's C OpenDev Scene Builder, and you can click on Browse and you can go find it. If you don't know where it installed it, like if you didn't change it, because the default location is like your app data folder, it installs it in like your local users folder. It's kind of fun. You can do this open file location here. This will actually show you the shortcut. This is your start menu shortcut, not the actual program itself. So don't give it this path, but go to the shortcut here and right click and go to the properties of the shortcut. in the properties of your shortcut, it will say, hey, where is this running? You can grab that path to go find it, because it defaults, it's like C users, your username, app data, local or something. It puts it in a funny place. It doesn't put it in program files where it's easy to find. But that's okay. So you can go find it. So we can tell NetBeans where Scene Builder is. Then if we tell NetBeans where Scene Builder is, we have two options. We have an open and we have an edit. If it doesn't know where Scene Builder is, you can't open and edit. Okay? Or if you don't have the plugins installed, you can't do open and edit. So I'm going to edit first. Edit gives me the XML. Right? This is Javafx XML. So it's XML that is specific to Javafx. So you can edit this stuff by hand. I don't recommend it. I like the easy route, right? If there's a tool for it, I'm all about the tool. So it's nice to know how to do it by hand in case you need to go tweak a couple things here or there. But again, I'm fond of tools. So we're going to try and not edit any of these things here by hand. Instead, we're going to use Scene Builder. So if you just double click it or pick your open option, it will go launch Scene Builder and open the fxml file directly, which is super cool. So right now, this is the empty window. There's nothing in it right now. So Scene Builder has your tools on the left, it has your preview in the center, and it has all the properties and things on the right. Okay, so we want to go find a control right now. And I want, this is kind of large here. I'm going to kind of slide that down a little bit here. So there's like document section and the controls and things. They're kind of both here on the left. So I want to find a button here. So I'm just going to click on button and click and drag it over. And I can put a button anywhere I want in my application. This is the graphical user interface for the button. Now that I have a button, I get all sorts of properties over here on the right. And you can go nuts with these properties. You can make all sorts of things here. But the important one here is text. Text is going to show you what shows up on the button. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. I didn't mean to click that link. That was wrong. I clicked the text link. It was trying to bring me up to the documentation. That's fine. So I'm going to change it from button, and I'm going to say, click me. Now, it doesn't update right away, but if you click to anywhere else, essentially, then it will go and update. So now it says, click me. Okay? Then what we want to do, so this is all the properties. This is all about like it's how it looks and its layout and sorts of things. I want to go to the code section. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a little bit blurry, Trisource. I'm just going to post the recording here. Trying to do it all like in a document's kind of obnoxious. So when it gets exported out to YouTube, it should buffer better for you. I don't know if it's an internet thing right now where it's going a little bit blurry. And I can always hop on a screen share and help get you walk through it, but it should go relatively straightforward if there's something that you missed there. Okay, so we're going to go to the code section here. So there's the three sections over on the right. We have the code section here. Oh, okay, yeah, cool. And what we need to do is we need to give it an on action. So the on action is what method name is going to run when the click me button is clicked, when an action happens to the button. And for buttons, the action is getting clicked on. So we're going to say, I'll call it button click. Again, it's a method name, so lowercase letter to start, and then uppercase all next words, something descriptive here. It's not going to look like anything changed, and that's okay. So it'll have it here, but nothing else will have changed. Then I'm going to go grab a label. So labels are your basic text things where you can set text for labels here. So it's not called text. So there are text areas or text fields. Text fields are typable, so the user can type into it, where a label is just text showing that they can't like click and type into and change the text. So labels are nice for labeling things. So I'm going to drag a label in. Now, if you want to interact with something inside of your code, it needs an FX ID in this code section. So I'm just going to put in label for its ID. This will be the variable name for this item in our code. So this label, the variable name will be label. So again, start with lowercase. And then I'm going to go to properties, and I want to get rid of the text. I don't want it to have any text right now. So I'm just going to delete all the text out. And now you'll think, oh, it disappeared. And it kind of did. So over on the left here, this document section, you can see the anchor pane is the actual, that's the window, the whole window. And inside of it, you see there's the button, and then there's the label. So if you want to go find it again, you can go find the label over here. You can kind of find your items from here. It's still kind of hard to drag around. So if you want to reposition it, just go add some dummy text in here real quick, and then you can drag it around. Right, put it anywhere you want, essentially, once you have some dummy text there. And then take the text back out. And if you want to change the font, right, we can change the font. Let's make this a little bit bigger here. Let's go, I don't know, 24 maybe. And let's change it to the best font ever of Comic Sans. Sure, why not? Okay. Now, the last thing you want to do is make sure you save. You have to save. So either go to File and Save, or Control S for save, and you'll get a little, okay, saved pop-up little light blue bar there when you save. Make sure you save. And you can either close it or leave it open. Sometimes I get confused if I leave it open. I mean, I get confused easily, but that's just me. But now if we right-click the file and go to Edit, we're going to see a bunch of stuff showed up here inside of this anchor pane. Right? We have a children section. Inside of the children section, we have a button. It has, hey, this is its X and Y location. So with graphical user interface applications, X and Y are a little funny. It's not Mathland. 0, 0 is the top left. So this is 266 pixels to the right on the x-axis and 188 pixels down on the y-axis, right? Because 0, 0 is the top left. That's all. And then the on action says, hey, I want to do this button click thing. The text is click me. So again, this is all stuff we could do by hand if we wanted to type it in by hand, but we don't want to do that. And then we have a label with an ID, with an X and Y location, and a given font property, setting it Comic Sans and a size for the font. Sure, we have that. The next step we want to do, now we know it got updated, it got saved properly. I'm going to right-click on it, and I'm going to say Make Controller. This is the magic part. This is my favorite part here. When we say Make Controller, it's going to go update the controller file here, and it's going to go add anything that we gave an ID to with this @fxml tag. Hey, there's a thing called label. We now have that label object here. We get an initialize. This is essentially the constructor. Not exactly a constructor, but initialize sets everything up inside of Fxml. And then we get an Fxml method called button click, because button click is what we called it for our on action over here. Button click. So it will go and generate all the things it needs to based on the Fxml file. That's why it's amazing. Okay, then we can actually go write some code now. So inside of button click, what do we want to do when we click the button? We want to take that label, right? So label dot, because label is my variable for it. And there's a method called setText. And we're going to set the text to hello world. That's it. So when you click the button, I'm going to change the text to hello world. Let's give it a run. So remember, graphical user interface applications are different. So whichever version, whichever flavor you learned, we should know that they're different from our console-based applications because we're now changing the paradigm. We're not running code from top to bottom, right? And maybe throwing some prompts in there for users to type something in and waiting for them to type something in. The graphical user interface application runs, and then it has to wait for the user to interact with it. So we're responding to events now, rather than running code top to bottom. And responding to events is whatever we give them to interact with. They can be text boxes, they can be buttons, there's all sorts of things we're going to look at over the next 2 weeks. Things we can put in our applications here. So right now the only thing I can do is click me. Now I can actually resize the window. Right? By default, because it's an FX application, I can resize this thing and I can move it around, I can maximize, I can minimize. That's not all that interesting. But the click me button's the thing I can really do. When I click me, I now get my text. Hello world. Now, it never changes because that was all there was to it, right? We're only ever setting it to hello world. So if we wanted to make it slightly more interesting, we could change the text to my label.getText. So getText will get the current text, and then I can append inside of here a hello world, and I'm going to add a new line character. So whatever the text was, plus, right, doing a string concatenation, smush them together here, hello world with a new line. So new lines then will make them go down to the next line. So every time I click it, then it's going to take the current text and add a new hello world line. And now it just keeps on showing up hello world. So it gets hard to click things because this is stacked on top of it, essentially. You got to be a little careful with how you position things. But the more I click it, the more lines I get. Eventually it's down there. It's just kind of hard to see, right? Because I can't, there's no scroll. There's no scroll window here. So I just have to try and resize it large enough here to see all my hello worlds in there. We got all the hello worlds. So we did that by getting the current text and appending to it. Okay, so we're going to leave initialize alone. We don't add a constructor for now. And this is pretty good. Get rid of some of that junk. Get rid of some of that junk. Get rid of that junk. There we go. That's our hello world. All right, so that's all we're going to do for the lab today is the hello world. Let me go set that one up for you folks real quick. And yeah, I'm a scene builder. I didn't open a new tab. Assignments here. I apologize, this stuff is not graded. I'll be working on it. It's been a rough week in the world. Week and a half. Ugh. All right, so we're on lab 8, it looks like. So we'll add a new assignment here for lab 8. 51, winter 2022, lab 8. Our Oakland Community College Java template. There we go. Feedback pull requests. Okay, cool. Got the link. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, friends. I didn't even get Project Zero done. Oh, that's awful. Okay, we'll get to it. I'm sorry. We'll definitely get to those. I apologize for leaving those out for so long. That's no fun. Right, so this is lab 8. Javafx. Hello world. Due in a week. So that puts us to the 15th at 10 a.m. That's halfway through March already. Wow. We'll add a new lab here. You'll turn in text here. Please submit the feedback pull request URL. Make your own Javafx hello world application that sets the text of a label when you click on a button to hello world or something similar. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you set it to. That's all. So essentially, we're just making sure you can get a JavaFX application up and running. That's the whole purpose of this, because it's a little bit more tool to download, the library to set up, all the settings and properties and things. That's all we want to work on for the rest of today to make sure we can all at least get started and follow along as we're doing more stuff. So we'll finish out the rest of the chapter on Thursday. And then next week, we're going to look at additional JavaFX stuff, all the things that weren't covered in the chapter, because there wasn't really everything covered, unfortunately. It's hard to find a good book that covers all the things we want to do. So some more supplemental stuff for JavaFX. So we'll talk about Project 2, I think, on Thursday, after we've done more JavaFX stuff. Is that all right? Or, I mean, I don't know if anyone's actually going to start on it today. up to you. I'm open to either. We could talk about it today if you want, or we could wait till Thursday. I'm not too concerned. Okay. All right. So then we'll wrap up Javafx. So the rest of this stuff here will be FX applications. So when we talk about databases in our database project, it'll be a Javafx application that allows us and does stuff with the database, which is really fun. We'll look at lambdas, we'll look at some multi-threading, we'll look at annotation and design patterns, some supplemental stuff, and then we'll have a week set aside for the final project. Actually, 3 sessions set aside for the final project, just literally to work. I have nothing to talk about. Ideally we're going to be in person, but we're not because the world is nuts. So I'd like you folks to work in pairs. Even though we're in the middle of a global pandemic, there's tools we can use for remote work together. If that is really something you're not up to, and life is just crazy, I get it. We can talk about doing it individually, but ideally everyone works in pairs. And then on 4/28, we'll switch over to Zoom. We'll all hop in my Zoom room and we will present our final projects. It should be a lot of fun. Okay, so that's what we've got coming up. So the rest of today we've got for the lab, we want to get Javafx set up and installed so you can get your little Hello World project up and running. Again, sorry for a little bit of a slow start, but apparently not everyone does Javafx in 1500. I'm working on getting that corrected. I think we're slowly getting there. So it should be okay. If it's easy practice, great, it's easy practice, and then we'll get into some more fun stuff starting Thursday. And we go from there, okay? All right, questions, thoughts, concerns? We doing okay? All right, awesome. So we will call it good then. We got the lab to work on. Let me go commit all that stuff to GitHub. So essentially you can just follow along those directions here. Back on the main, copy this in, call launch, copy in the start, just make sure you change the Fxml file. You extend, add your imports, add your Fxml file, and you're off to the races. So we have to do it for every project. Once we get a better tool, we don't have to do all this stuff because that means it's a little bit funky here. And I've heard it actually works a little nicer with the official Oracle version of Java. I haven't had much of a chance to play with that myself. We've always been doing the OpenJDK version of it here, just again because it's a little obnoxious that Oracle. Okay, sure. I guess they have to make money somehow, and that's fair. But we'll try and use the open stuff if we can. Come on, GitHub client. You're not that difficult. Come on. All right, it froze on me. Change my repo. There it goes. 2151. So here's Javafx, hello world. We'll commit and push. I'll be out there for you fine folks. Yeah, I think it's my laptop more than anything else, Shady. I think it's just my laptop. It's not even 3 years old yet. It's like 2.5 years old. But it has been on its last legs for a little while here. So it's what it is. Trying to decide. I like the laptop because I can take it with me everywhere, but a desktop might be a better option. I can just have it set up in my office. But then when I actually go to classes, right, I'll need a laptop too. So we'll see. All right, so that's what we got. It's been fun. Let me know what I can do to help you folks get set up, get up and running with your Hello World FX lab, and we'll go from there. All right. All right, folks, take care, and I'll see you Thursday.